David Messerschmidt was on the fast track to the brightest of futures. And a clandestine meeting.
The email responding to David's posting that night was from a Chris Sanchez.
Year-old leaves for work, unaware that it will be the last day he'll see his wife again.
David goes to work like any other day.
And relatively new to the firm.
This young man was a rising star. He had a young wife of 3 years, a
kind, and her best friend. After dating for 7 years, they wed in 2000.
Wife ever receives from him.
The next morning, on February 10, 2015, hotel.
Is found. So investigators definitely had a time frame to work.
It was the plea so incredibly tough to deliver, but widow Kim Vong is urging
Why didn't his wife know he was at a hotel? The hotel was close to both his work and home.
David worked.
Following a homicide, every possible scenario needs to be investigated thoroughly. Thing missing from the items that authorities find in the room is David's cell phone.
Head down, pacing side to side, more nervous than anything. But the look in the stairwell is almost like
flip-flops, shorts, etc.
But it was the other items that police wouldn't expect a married man to have. Scene made to look like David was having an affair. Without a phone to comb through, investigators want
and find an email account he had used recently. The email, DCGuy456,
husband's sexuality came completely out of left field.
David Messerschmidt had a secret double life, a happily
His wife, who had to deal with not only the death of her husband, also the shocking news of his other life at the same time.
Things, or being able to explore a different kind of sexuality that they may not want to bring forward to
that police customarily investigate. They have an email address and they follow up on all
stranger in a hotel room instead of a public place like the lobby and then heading up to the room.
The Donovan
Unless he had met this person before.
David's body had 7 stab wounds in the front.
Reward of $25,000 for information leading to an arrest in the case.
David felt confident this would be a quick rendezvous. That's why he texted his wife he would be home in an hour.
But
Jamire Goldman, this is what she looked like in surveillance video.
surprise, they discover that the phone number doesn't belong to Chris Sanchez at all, but to someone else. Myra's registered address and begin to search her home. With the evidence they find there, they murder.
But why was Jamira there in the first place? And what motive could she have to kill David Meth? Young 21-year-old woman get involved with a man seeking men on the internet?
She easily could pass for a man, especially with the baggy coat and pants the person in the footage.
But as time went on, the pressure got to her.
Maybe the guilt built up in her mind, but better way to rob someone than by preying on their secret life. Jamira knew David was meeting a Chris Sanchez in secret.
To rob him, the fight triggered a flashback to when she had been assaulted years before. She admitted that
hands and arms, which really means he tried to fight back.
but it wasn't enough. One of the She quickly rummaged through David's possessions and took the cash out of his wallet, his phone, to the crime.
Jamira had a live-in girlfriend by the name of Dominique Johnson. She doesn't appear on
She confesses to what she knows.
2 days after arresting Jamira for murder and armed robbery,
She didn't want Jamira to commit the robbery, but she's on camera with Jamira buying the zip tie.
It went bad, was the response. Jamira told her about the $40 in cash and the Metro card, and the two took the bus.
Jamira would be going to prison for a long time.
Dominique Johnson also pleaded guilty.
get smaller, but not by much for the rest of my life.
Its life didn't need to come to surface. We'll never know what the wife knew or how long David had been living with Unfortunately, we'll never know.
Despite his extramarital affairs, David Messerschmidt didn't deserve victims whose only crime was trusting someone on the internet. Sydney Loof